Hello everyone, welcome back to Black Widow Fishing. I'm Bryce. Today we're going to discuss the obvious, we're also going to recap last month, and we're going to get into round 9 of our mystery tackle box versus our monster bass box. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's discuss the obvious. If you're a regular watcher of this channel, you know that I normally do these unboxings and these comparisons inside my boat, but as you can see, I'm not in the boat. This big blue thing, which you can't really see right in front of me, is a really large laser engraver that I use for my business, and I needed to move it into the garage, so that means my boat had to move outside. So for this episode, I'm going to tape it right here as I kind of find a new spot to try and do my videos. My other spot that I use has my fishing kayak in there, so I don't really have too many options. So that's the obvious. And if you do watch regularly, you'll know that last month of August did not get posted. I had actually recorded the video. I wasn't real happy with the way that the recordings went since I was in a new location at that time, and business really picked up, so I really just didn't have time to do it. But I did do it, and just to recap it for you, I was thoroughly surprised with the shipping speed for both of the boxes. They did come in before the 9th of the month, which is incredibly fast for both of them. Mystery tackle box was really what I could sum up as really just basic. There was nothing super exciting about it at all. Monster Bass had one or two exciting pieces, but overall I just thought it was a better box, so I did give the win to Monster Bass, which brings this fight to even at 4 versus 4. And so we have just a few more months remaining, so hopefully one of these boxes can take the lead, and we'll see how it goes from there. But as always, let's get into the mystery tackle box first. Okay, as we get into the box, it's actually, and I know it's going to be almost impossible to see, but I'll zoom in on the video. The mystery tackle box is actually packaged fairly nicely for mystery tackle box standards, so no complaints about that. Okay, and of course we've got a Guggen Squad Grass Hero Swim Jig. This is a 1/4 ounce. You can see there, and this is going to be their bluegill color, which is really nice about this time. You know, the bluegill, the little fry is starting to get a little bit bigger, so they start getting eaten up by the bass. And we have, like I said, we have a ton of Guggen Squads, so this is going to go to the wall. So the next we have is the Headbanger Cranky Shad. It's 3 inches long, 1/2 ounce, and it dives to a depth of 1 to 5 feet, and it's got VMC hooks. It's got a very good representation of a shad pattern on here. It has, which I've never seen on crankbait before, it's got little plastic fins that kind of stick out, and then the dive head or the bill looks really interesting. The next we have are, of course, my favorite hooks, spear points. These are the EWGs 3/0, and there's 4 of them in there. Can't go wrong with spear point. Next we have is the Guggen Squad Revolver. This is a topwater bait if you're not familiar. It's 4.5 inches and it's a 1/2 ounce. So basically what happens is as you pull this through the water, the body kind of rotates. One rotates clockwise, the other one rotates counterclockwise, and that causes a lot of disturbance in the water. Topwater bite should be on, especially early in the morning right now. So the next we have is a Ketchco tightrope. If you don't know Ketchco, they make the Guggen Squad. This is a bite getter spinner bait. Very interesting color. It has a Colorado blade and a willow leaf blade. It's a 1/2 ounce, and it's almost like a shad with white and gold and black in it. It's really interesting looking color. I've actually never seen this kind of spinner bait before, well, at least the color. And then for this actual kind of brand for Ketchco, I haven't seen before either. So this is something new. They call it a turtleback Colorado blade combo. So pretty interesting. The next we have is the Bait Labs. This is the ultimate strike bait. And so basically this is a small, well, I'd say almost kind of a medium-sized crankbait. It's got a shad pattern on the side with the chartreuse top. The bill isn't too big, so they call this the fry shad. So I mean, it's not really small, but it's not really big. So just kind of right in that medium size. But they don't really have any other information on here about the size, the depth that it dives. Just telling by the bill, it doesn't look like it's going to dive too deep. I would say probably 1 to 5 feet on this one. The next we have is the X-Zone. These are their bass candies. These are their straight tail worms. I haven't seen this particular color before, but it looks an awful lot like some of their other colors that they have. But the design of the worm is a little different. The next we have is a Semantis baits, and they never put what they are on their packages. At least I haven't been able to find anything, and you know I look pretty closely. These are basically Ned tubes. They've got the straight tail worm on the top with some ribs, and then definitely the Ned straight body at the bottom. So interesting. I'm not like really excited to use these, but you know, they'll go in the package. And then of course we've got our card that we normally get, and we get our booklet. And then this month's sticker is a largemouth bass. Well, really, this is a striped bass. Okay, so overall for Mystery Tackle Box, I would say, you know, it's a decent box. The only real thing that, well, take that back. The two things that I actually like receiving in the box is you'll never, ever hear me complain or not give praise for getting spear point hooks. I love those hooks. If you try and find them in the local stores, they're a little hard, so you can't order them online. They are a California company. As far as my understanding, they're just a few hours south of where I live. But I love getting them, especially if I don't have to buy them. Fantastic. And then the next thing would be the new Catch Coast spinnerbait. I like spinnerbaits, but I'm not a huge spinnerbait fan. But this is a really intriguing color, and it's a smaller size spinnerbait too. So I'm going to be really excited to give this a try. So overall, if I had to rate this box out of 10, I'd probably give it about a 6 or a 7. It's decent. I think you would get fair value for your money, but it wouldn't be something that I'd run out and tell you that you absolutely need to get right now. So let's move into our Monsterbass box. And I forgot to discuss the shipping before we get into the Monsterbass box. The Mystery Tackle Box got here fairly quickly as well. I think it arrived here by about the 9th. And today is now, let me see, today is the 17th, second week of NFL football, if you watch that for the 2023 season. Monsterbass box came yesterday, which would have been the 16th on a Saturday. I actually never had the box show up on a Saturday, but again, we're back to the slower shipping times. They did use a different shipping partner this time because I think it shipped by UPS and then got handed off to USPS because it was in my mailbox. So right off the bat, Mystery Tackle Box has 1.4 the shipping speed because it was much faster. But as we open the Monsterbass box, of course it's packaged how we always like it. So we've got our pamphlet right on top. Alright, and the first thing we have is a Monsterbass branded lipless crank. This is the Incision 6.9. It's 2.5 inches. It's a 1/2 ounce, and the color is a blue chrome. The next item that we have is the Monsterbass branded Seeker 6 crankbait. This is a crankbait that dives 4 to 6 feet. It's 2.5 inches long, and it's a 1/2 ounce. And this is the Baby Blues. So this really looks kind of like a shad, but with a blue color pattern. And so far, if you've been listening to the kind of baits that I've been telling you, they've all been about 2 to 3 inches and about a 1/2 ounce, and they dive fairly shallow, about 1 to 5 feet. That should give you an idea of what you should be throwing this month. Any baits that are made to kind of look like bait fish that are up in the shallows, it's going to do really well. Bass are starting to feed on everything, especially the bigger ones that are going to get ready for the winter downturn before the spawn. So they want to put on as much energy and eat as much food as they can before they really slow down and they move offshore to those really deep structures. Okay, the next item we have is a Monsterbass branded Slick Stick 99. This is a floating, it's a 1/2 ounce again, and this is in the Kylon color, which basically is just a silver or kind of shad pattern. The next item that we have is the Monsterbass Seeker 8. It dives 4 to 8 feet. It's 2.5 inches long and ½ ounce weight, and it's in the Crawlicious color. And to be 100% honest with you, this is one of my favorite crankbaits of all time. The pattern, the way that it moves, the way that I can cast it, at least with the depth, and then when you're retrieving it, it dives deep enough to where you know you've got a crankbait and you can distinguish between the different bites, but it's not so deep that you need to get a specialty crankbait pole where it just feels like you're pulling a weight through mud. So this is one of my favorites. The next item that we have is the Monsterbass branded that says new bait for 2024. It doesn't have a name on here, but it's definitely a Ned shaped kind of craw. It's got like a blue silver on the bottom, and then it's got a regular green pumpkin on top. The shape is a little different. The profile is a little bit wider. The claws look, like typical claws, but I think really in the body shape, it's when it's the distinguishing part. The next item that we have is the Monsterbass branded, another soft plastic. These are just kind of like I would call it like a rippled tube worm, almost. Maybe not, like a rippled straight tail worm. This also says it's new for 2024, and this is in a green pumpkin. The next item that we have is the Monsterbass branded. These are going to be Tokyo rigs in here. So if you don't know how to use these Tokyo rigs, basically you're going to put your weight on the straight metal bar. You're going to slide your weight down there, and then you're just going to kind of twist the end of that bar up so the weight doesn't come off. And then you're going to thread your worm either as like a Texas rig, lipless, however you want to call it, or you can nose hook it. And then basically it kind of works like a drop shot kind of Ned rig where it just kind of sits on the bottom, but it floats just a little bit above the weight, and then you can work it that way. It really is kind of the same as those, but it presents it just a little differently, so it can help you pull out some of those strikes that you might not normally get with those kind of setups. It is gaining more and more popularity around here. So right now I don't think a lot of people use it, but like I said, it is gaining a lot of popularity. I happen to like it. I will use it over the Ned rig pretty much any day. And so what makes it really easy is just buying these Ned rigs. Not these Ned rigs. What makes it really easy is just buying these pre-rigged Tokyo setups to where you just gotta slide your weight on there. You don't have to make your own. It's really worth the money to just buy it instead of spending the time to make it. The next item that we have is our Monsterbass, little tackle kit. This is for a Carolina rig though. So you could use a lot of these pieces from the Carolina rig setup for your Tokyo setup, or you can just run a Carolina rig. A lot of people do use the Carolina rig. I'm not a huge fan of the Carolina rig, but I can tell you that, as I said, I think in a couple of episodes ago, Damien Thau, when he went to the national championships, he used the Carolina rig, and he kind of slayed it all the way up till second place, so it does work. The next item that we have is our golden ticket. As always, watch Rick on Thursdays, see if he calls your number. We've got a kind of crazy looking fish sticker here. We've got our 10% off Tackle Depot coupon, which you always get a fairly decent coupon within the mystery, or the Monster Tackle box. And then, of course, we've got our Fish Angler app. I did give the app a try. It was decent. There's nothing that's going to get me to want to subscribe to it, and certainly nothing that's going to want to make me do an individual show on the app. Unless they reach out to me and want me to do it, it's kind of just like fish bragging, to be honest with you, so nothing too special. Okay, so recapping our Monsterbass box, if you couldn't tell, it was another takeover box, obviously by Monsterbass. So that means everything that's going to be in the box is going to be Monsterbass branded. There are two things in this box as well that I was excited about, and that is the Tokyo rig setup as well as the crankbait, the Crawlicious crankbait. So overall, I did like that we get some new baits before everybody else for the 2024 season. So I think that's going to push this box over the edge over a mystery tackle box. But overall, I would say this box gets about a 7. So it's kind of tied right there with mystery tackle box. But as I said, with the newer baits that are in here that are going to be coming out next year, I think that kind of just pushed it over the edge just a tiny little bit to give them the win. So to recap, we've got a 5 wins here and 4 wins here with the mystery tackle box. So that's all for now. I'll catch you next time.